Psalm 139, probably my favorite of all the scriptures. I praise you, for I am fearfully and wonderfully made. So I thought of this again as I remembered Vicky's message to us last Sunday. And she was talking about the mini-me's, those parts of us that are scarred, those parts of us that feel pain, those parts of us from our childhood and adolescence and early adulthood and into our 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, and 70s, those parts of us that need to be healed. For it's not an easy journey to look at those things. And I always remember this verse when I am delving in to those parts of me and wanting to heal them and trying to be fearless about looking at them and taking that journey that Vicky was talking about, asking those questions that she posed to us. So I don't want us to move too quickly over that topic that she introduced to us, those mini-me's that we think about. And I think sometimes, as with all spiritual journeys or callings, that sometimes we hear them and we look at them for the amount of time they're in front of us and somebody's talking about it, and then we kind of drop it. Because then we get busy, life happens. And then we just get back on the hamster wheel and we run through our days without really taking the dive in and taking the look into those things. So it's interesting, after Vicky's session after service last week, those questions just wouldn't leave me alone. And one of the questions, which is, what wisdom do you have to teach me? When you ask that little person, at whatever age you chose, to tell you, what wisdom do you have to share with me? What is it that you want me to know that I'm afraid to hear? That question just kept at me all week. And so during the session, the question came up. I put a star next to it because it kind of jumped out at me, and I didn't think I was ready to delve into the question. I think each of us at some point knows that there's something calling you to go deeper. There's something calling you to ask that question and really ask it and really wait for the answer. And so I've had a bit of discomfort during the week thinking about the answer to the question. I don't know what the answer is because I have not sat down in the quiet to receive the answer. There's a part of me that doesn't want to sit and do it. I don't want to take the time. I don't want to hear the answer because I can already, even as I talk about it right now, I can feel emotion around just a freaking question. I don't even have an answer. But I feel it boiling up. And I called Vicki about something in the middle of the week. And as I was talking to her about something else, because it's her, because I know she knows me, and because I know she feels things, and she hears things when she's talking to people, she hears the message underneath what you're saying, I already knew that she was feeling something like I was feeling something. And as we're talking about the other things, which are all very practical, I kept feeling this undercurrent of emotion. And then finally I said, I'm going to need a one-on-one with you. Because I know there's something happening there. Something's knocking on my door. And I don't want to open the door by myself. But I want to to open the door. Because I'm tired of running. And I know there's no mistake that at this particular time, this question is beckoning me. It's no mistake that right here, right now, I'm here to deal with another layer of something I've been dealing with for decades. And I think it's because now I'm moving into different expressions, levels of expression in my life that require deeper healing of a particular issue. So it almost doesn't matter how much work you did before on something, sometimes it rises back up. And there's a part of me that wishes it would rise up a little bit more easily than it seems to be presenting itself. Because it is right here behind the eyeballs. And probably when Vicki and I sit down and start this one-on-one, she's going to have to sit and watch me blubber for about 5 minutes. And I'll just cry and weep and let it all out. Because something's churning. It just is. And I think even if I were capable of stuffing it down somewhere, I choose not to right now. So I pulled out this book, which I've had for a number of years, Becoming Like God, Kabbalah and Our Ultimate Destiny. And in this section, it talks about discomfort and measuring ourselves. So it says, so this is the measure. Where am I? Not in reference to others, but in reference to myself. Where am I on the road to my own potential? Growth should not be linear, but exponential. A little growth increases our feeling of contentment exponentially, and every step makes the next one easier. If our thoughts and actions are not taking us toward God, we need to change. What progress are we making? That cannot be quantified by anyone outside of ourselves. We need to ask ourselves this: if we continue in our life's trajectory for 5, 10, or 20 years, where will we be? Will we become like God yet? The answer should make us rethink our efforts. As we dissolve our prison chains and merge our essence back into God's essence, we reveal our godly nature more and more. I think it is our godly nature that's rattling our chains. That's saying, something's at that door, I want you to open it. And it's uncomfortable. Discomfort. It shows up like that when there's something we need to heal, and something's knocking at the door. And so I feel this pressure here that wants a response. And I could surely choose to lock and bolt the door, stuff a towel under the bottom, so nothing can seep underneath. Push a chair in front of it. Isn't that what we do so often with the things we feel? Get furniture, put it in front of the door, so even if the door opens, whatever it is that wants to come through, we don't let it come through. And then if it comes through, we want to sit, put our hands over our ears, and pretend we don't hear. Or you don't feel the heat coming up underneath you. And so maybe you have to jog in place so you don't get your feet burned. That's how we react to the discomfort. Until we either decide we're going to open the door and deal with it, whatever it is, whatever's calling us, or we lock and bolt the door and turn and try to run. And it may be possible to run if you don't look forward, always answering, I think, that call that Spirit has to us saying, I want you to go higher. I want you to aim for something else. I'm calling you forth. And I think that's what this book is saying. That as long as you're okay with staying where you are, you can have a minimum of discomfort. And you can just sit and pretend it's okay. And put up the facade that we walk around with so much that lets others think it's okay. And it's intuitive folks like Vicki and some others that I know that can see that there's something going on with you other than the face that you're putting forward. And usually we know because there's always a crack in the armor somewhere, right? That's when things start to push your buttons. That's when you're wound so tight that when something hits you or something comes towards you, the crack just opens wide up. Just opens up. Comfort kills, even though seeking it is a biologically determined survival strategy. Organisms instinctively flee discomfort. That's why they survive. But what's comfortable for the body is misery for the soul. As souls, we're trapped in the 24-hour survival drama of the bodies we inhabit. The comfort we truly long for, the ultimate and only comfort, is union with the Creator. Union with the Creator. On the one hand, we have the illusory comfort of the body, and on the other, the true comfort of the soul. We cannot be comfortable in both universes at the same time, any more than we can go east while we are going west. We're either moving toward God or we're moving toward ego, death, and suffering. And the road to real comfort, which is God, passes through a great deal of discomfort. So we got to be willing to jump in to the fire. And maybe we don't jump alone. I chose not to jump alone. So I reached out to Vicki and I said, will you jump with me? And she said yes. Please know that that offer is also open to you. If there's something that's beckoning you through this process, and you don't want to open the door by yourself, or find a trusted friend, somebody that you know can sit with you in your discomfort and not be uncomfortable themselves. You need somebody who can hold the space. You need somebody who can be with you. I've talked about this before. It's not just anybody. It's not any friend. It's not anybody that you can just talk to and have a good time with. These are the people that can watch you as you dissolve into a hot mess and sit with you and let you be your hot mess and love you through it and let you be uncomfortable. And they give you their strength. So the door's opening. She opened a door. She said, do you want to look in? Do you want to decide at what age do you need to heal something? And then ask those 4 questions. We'll put the 4 questions up on Facebook. But that one question for me about what is it that I might not want to hear, that is the pivotal question. I'm up for always hearing the wisdom and trying to jump over the uncomfortable part. You always want to accelerate the process. We want instant gratification. We want to learn it now. We want it to happen fast. We want it to be easy. We want it on the billboard. Dear Lord, please, make the answer big for me so I don't miss it. And sometimes we got to dig down to go find it. Sometimes it's not going to be that easy. In fact, I'm finding the things that I really need to heal deeply are the things that I have to be fearless about and just dive deep into the darkness to find the answer. Not always going to be a billboard. It's just not going to. We have to do the work. You got to move through the discomfort, knowing that we are fearfully and wonderfully made, and that, as Psalm 139 says, that God is present everywhere, that God is present. You are still divine, even in the midst of being a hot mess. That there's something that covers you and runs through you that is divine, even as you are dissolving into tears and feeling the shame and pain or whatever it is that's coming up for you. Fear, sadness, grief. That spirit is still in the midst of that. So there is no reason to fear, and you are no less divine in the hot mess than you are when you are triumphant and in your power. Psalm 39 says that God is with us in the depths, in the darkness. In fact, the darkness is not dark to spirit. Everything is permeated by light. Darkness is not an absence of light. The light is everywhere if we will see it and know it. And jump into the darkness knowing that there's light there and that there's freedom there. And I believe what Vicki is doing for us in these sessions, we're doing it today and next Sunday as well, is we are trying to bring those many me's together and go from a fragmentation consciousness to one of wholeness and completeness. We are complete, it's just that we don't see it. We don't experience it. We're not living it. We're not embracing it. It's all on the journey, but it's a journey that's uncomfortable. Discomfort. That's where our growth is. Maybe it's part of the human experience. And so accepting it and just moving forward is what we're called to do. Okay, you're calling me in. I'm going in. Here I am. Let's do this. Let's do this. And I say that often, even though I know rationally that there is no separateness between me and spirit, and that I am one with the divine. Sometimes I use the royal we and say, let's do this. Because it gives me something to hold on to while I go into the dark. Discomfort, change, a part of life. It's always there, calling us on some other level for something else. So as soon as you heal one thing or get to one level of comfort, then something else will show up. If you're always walking towards your potential, which is to embrace the fullness of your divinity, your magnificence. That's what Vicki was talking about. Stepping into our magnificence and healing all those little things that are running around, trying to get in our way, when we want to walk forward. But it's all part of the process. So even though we may try to shove the mini-me's out of the way, part the waters, so to speak, we need to heal them and take them with us. Wrap them in love like she taught us, that bubble, that pink bubble of love. Take them forward on the journey. Because just like a bone is stronger after it's been broken and healed, so is our heart and our consciousness. We're stronger for the journey ahead. We get more emboldened, more ready for what we're being called to at that next level. So we've got to heal a different layer. Keep healing, keep looking, keep diving, keep walking. Keep growing, keep embracing. And know, really, really, really know that you're fearfully and wonderfully made.